Hi everybody, Drew here, and welcome to episode 18 of the Neurotic Knitter podcast. I'm Drew. I am the Neurotic Knitter. You can find me on Instagram at Drew in Real Life. You can find me on Ravelry, Drew Jacobs 83, and you can find me on YouTube here, which I think you've already found me, but if you need to find me again, it's youtube.com/I am the Neurotic Knitter, because I am. And it's great to be with you guys again. I am a little bit proud of myself because I recorded a podcast last weekend and I had not intended to record a podcast today. Today is Sunday, September 10th, 2023. However, the mood just struck me and I had an idea and I thought, let me go into this idea because I feel like I've got something to say on this topic. So today's topic is really kind of two things. Actually, before I get into that, like and subscribe if you can, and share also. I'm a really small kind of YouTube presence so far. I'm really trying to kind of get back into it with this podcast, and then coming soon with my friend Cassie Monksgard, our joint podcast called Knit About It, which you should also check out. Knit About It is also on YouTube. If you put it in, you can see our podcasts that we've done together, which I think are really great. A little biased, but anywho. But yeah, anything you can do to help me grow my following would be wonderful. I would love to just get new people into the fold and share and meet friends. I mean, that's like the whole thing, and just share some good knitting juju and some good knitting energy, and just geek out on being fiber geeks and knitters and crocheters and all of that. I love that stuff. I love meeting new fiber folks. So anyway, okay, so today's topic, dual topic as I said, but related: whips or works in progress and sweaters. I might be doing a little show and tell, or a lot of show and tell here in a moment at the fusion of those two topics. So I guess that's the spoiler alert. A few other housekeeping items. Well, actually, no, I'll wait on those. So anyway, I thought I would start by just talking about like my personal philosophy, if one can have one, although I feel like most fiber folks do have one, on whips, works in progress. You've got some folks who are very good, and I don't even like the word good because that like places value on like one way of being versus another way of being, and like just be who you are. That's what we're after here. That's good enough. So one way to look at it, or one way to approach it, there are people who like will knit a project from start to end, and then they will bind it off and block it, and then they'll start their next one and they'll knit that one from start to end, etc., etc. They're like knitting monogamous, right? Like they just like focus on one thing at a time, and they don't cast anything on until like the thing that they're working on is finished. Then there are people, I think, in the middle somewhere who are like, and I've got a couple of friends like this. I'm thinking of one in particular who I hope he won't be mad that I say his name, but my friend Gordon, who's very calm, is beautiful knitter, really kind soul. He has like 1 to 2 or maybe 3 things maximum going at once. And I think if it gets like a little bit more than that, he's like pumps the brakes and, keeps it pretty tightly focused. But he might let himself like work on a sock, or he might, have a sock and a blanket, like, a small project and a big project going. And there are people like that, who are still pretty focused in general, but they might give themselves like a little wiggle room. And then there's a third category, and there's a spectrum within this category. of people who just cast on with wild abandon. Or people who get easily distracted, like they're knitting on one thing and they see something come out and they want to cast it on because they get excited. That's definitely me to some extent. Also a part of that kind of a person, or maybe a type of that kind of person. I should put together like a chart. Maybe we could develop a framework. Can you tell that I'm like an evaluator and a data person? Because I'm like, let's figure out all the categories and then place people into these categories. Anyway, some people like to have lots of whips because they like different levels of challenge, or they want different things for different kinds of applications. Like a lot of people who are sock knitters carry the sock for like those in-between times, like dentist's office, car line at school, you know. I've heard people say red light, but that seems pretty dangerous. So I would not advise doing that. I think I probably most identify with like the squirrel shiny, like ooh, ooh, ooh kind of thing. Though sometimes I also will get into a project and either make a mistake and then my blood pressure rises and I'm like, wah, neurotic knitter. And I just need to like set it aside, let my emotions settle. And sometimes I come back to it. Sometimes I never come back to it. You never know. I have a lot of whips and I do not feel bad about it at all. And I think there's like, I don't know if judgment's the right word, but if you have a lot of whips, that's okay. You don't have to be ashamed about it. And you don't have to tell anybody, you know, like you don't have to be like, I have 67 whips, or I have 127 whips, or I have 5 whips. There doesn't need to be shame. Remember, knitting and crocheting and fiber arts in general, it's supposed to be fun. So do what you want to do. If it makes you happy and it's giving you joy, go with it. If it's not giving you joy, have a frogging party. Like I have a friend whose name's Cassie, I mentioned her before, and maybe 2 or 3 years ago on one of my podcasts, I think we did it on a podcast, I did like a little bit of a frogging party because I was feeling like some kind of way. Like I was like, I've got too many things going. There's definitely some things in this mix that I'm like, I know for sure I'm not gonna finish. So yeah, think about it, just consider it. Not from a perspective of passing judgment, but just getting curious. I love that. Get curious about your knitting and your habits and your approaches and just like how your brain is wired for these different sorts of things. Okay, so here comes the fun part, I think. I might have a little coffee. I'm drinking full calf coffee at, I don't know what time it is, something 4:10 p.m. Dangerous for me as a 40 something, but that's okay. Tastes good. This is from our little local place called The Well, which is really cool. It's this coffee house in Nashville, and they do they use part of the proceeds from the sales at the coffee house to get clean water for developing countries. So cool little I guess you'd call it like a nonprofit / coffee house. So, and the coffee's good. Okay, now we're really gonna get into it. So as you know, during my podcasts, I often have like a smattering of projects. I have a lot. I think I have, let me just see. Yeah, I have 10. So I'm just gonna out myself, and there may be more even. Like I'm pretty sure I picked up most of them. I have 10 sweaters that are in progress, at least. I don't feel bad about it. And so if you have 10 or 20 or 1 or 2 or 1,000, it's cool. So what I'm gonna do is I kind of wanted to do like a tour of the sweaters to show people like what I've been working on over many years. Maybe get some encouragement from you guys, or not encouragement, but just, you know, sometimes like you think something's kind of like meh, and then somebody's like, wow, that's so cool, and it like spurs you on to finish it. I'll talk a little bit about the pattern and about the yarn. I'll talk a little bit about kind of like where it's at in my mind and how I'm feeling about it, and like what I think the likelihood will be that I may someday finish it. So let's get going. I'm gonna start with the one that is like the one that I've been posting about, and really, I think, been doing a pretty good job of just kind of knitting through. I'll try to think about approximate dates, but honestly, y'all, I'm not gonna be able to remember because like some of these are from like the archives, okay? So anyway, this is Spalding. Sorry, I have to figure out the right way to show you, and I know when I like do that, I block the sound, so I'm gonna try to do my best. So this is Spalding. It is by Zanette Knits, or Zanette Hussein. It's a top-down half brioche sweater. It was published under the Brooklyn Tweed umbrella. It's gonna have a V-neck where this kind of big gaping hole is. I'm well into the body. I intend to wear this this fall at Rhinebeck. Feelings on it, great. Feeling great about it. Really delightful knit. Really kind of easy too. Like the pattern so far has just been mwah, chef's kiss. Love it. I'm using Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and the colorway is called Cadet. It's a beautiful, beautiful kind of bright blue, and I'm loving it. So I'm like giving this one like a high likelihood of success and potential wear in the future. Okay, so that was my first one. The next one, I'm gonna kind of start with some ones that I like are recent, you know, that sort of thing. This one's gonna be a little hard to show, so you're gonna have to be a little patient with me. And I'm not gonna be able to show all the pieces, but I'm gonna give you the general idea. This one has a story. I posted about this one the other day. I'm gonna probably talk for like a bazillion minutes about this one because I just think it is probably, like, when it's all said and done, gonna be the coolest sweater I've ever made. And that's saying a lot because my Guthrie sweater I loved, which I won't be showing. I'm not showing any finished objects today, but I actually finished that one. So it's evidence that I can finish a sweater. Sorry, I've got dog hair all over this because, you know, dogs. Okay, so with no further ado, this is the Normandale sweater. Normandale. Show you, just give it a minute so you can kind of see some of the intricacies of this design. This sweater's fucking cool, guys. Like, there's just no, like, two ways about it, okay? So let me talk a little bit about it. So as I said, the pattern is Normandale. It is designed by Nora Gahn, who I personally think designs beautiful sweaters and a lot of really good sweaters for men. Really like her stuff. There's a little bit of a story behind this sweater. So my good friend Steven, he knit a Normandale. His Ravelry handle, if you want to look up his, which is just beautiful, is 40-ton Tanuki. And there's really not that many people who have knit this one. Also, Seth Richardson, who is a really talented designer and knitter out of Portland, he knit one. I actually like, and I stole like his exact colors because I thought they were just so beautiful. This is like a deep, navy blue with like kind of a light grayish blue. He knit one that was really beautiful. My friend Drew knits on Instagram. He knit one. Yeah, so several male knitters have knit the sweater, and female knitters as well. So the interesting thing about this, there's several things. One is the inspiration of the sweater's design is the bridges of Portland, Oregon. And so you can see that the motif here looks like bridges. And what's so cool, one of the many things that's cool about this is mosaic knitting. So for those of you who are not familiar with mosaic knitting, and I am not a mosaic knitting expert, but I'm going to do my best to give you like the 30-second version. It's somewhat like stranded knitting, except for there's not really stranding in the sense that you would think of for Fair Isle. Rather, this piece is knit, all the pieces of it are knit flat. And so when you knit across, you basically knit across the right side with one color, you knit back on the wrong side with that same color. Then in the next row, using a chart, you knit using the second color and you slip some of the stitches from the previous row. And so that's what gives you the design. You're only ever working with one strand of yarn or one color, and the way that you get the impact or the motif is through the use of slip stitches. It's so fun to work on. I just really this one has been going for a while, mostly because of my life. Like, my life has been so busy. And so that's the reason. There's no ill will towards this one. It's just I haven't finished it for no good reason, really. Really enjoyable to make. And honestly, not all that hard. I will tell you, I did use some Excel spreadsheets to kind of map it out. The chart is a little bit complicated, but it's one of those things where if you sit with it for a moment and you kind of get your brain together on it, it's easy. One thing I actually did for this one is I took I cut out, this is gonna make me sound crazy, I made a few copies of the chart and I cut the charts out and then I laid them out in pieces, so I had one giant chart that I could follow. It just made it easier for me. I don't know why. Maybe that's something that can help you. The other thing to say about this that makes it really unique, you use a chunky yarn and a DK weight yarn in this pattern. So the blue yarn, the dark blue yarn, is a chunky weight yarn, Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, and the light, the gray yarn, is a DK weight Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. What that does is the different weight of yarn creates the curvature in the fabric. If you were using just 2 DK weights or 2 chunky weights, everything would look very straight. The use of the 2 different weights of yarn kind of pushes parts of it out and brings parts of it in depending on what you're using. It's genius. Noragon, I hope you make another sweater that uses this kind of overall technique. I've not seen something like this in a while. So I'm actually, sorry, let me get my stuff together here. I'm actually working on, I'm not actively working on that, but as soon as I finish the first one that I showed you, Spalding, this is next up. It's ambitious, but I'm hoping to finish it for Rhinebeck this year. The story that I alluded to a moment ago, and then I will move on, I promise. I was supposed to knit it for 2021 Rhinebeck, which I went to with my friend Steven, who made his, and we were gonna be twins, and I didn't get it done. And then 2022 Rhinebeck, I tried again, and I got further, and I still didn't finish it. So third time's a charm. I'm gonna really, really try to power through. I literally only have a tiny bit of the collar and one sleeve to finish. And then my friend Deb, God bless her for so many reasons, is going to help me do the seaming and like finish it. So look for me at Rhinebeck in that sweater. Okay, so let's look at a few others. I'm gonna take a little drink of coffee. This might be kind of long, y'all. Or maybe I'll break it into 2 parts. We'll see. I'm kind of a little chatty today. Okay. So the next one I have to show you is another one that I think has a good likelihood of being finished and is one that I've just generally really enjoyed. Also has kind of a cool story to it. Not really like a big story. Okay. Oops. I have to be careful, there's the coffee there. There we go. This is called Painting Bricks by Stephen West. This has a cool folded collar that you make, like a double folded. You actually start doing a twisted rib, you do double the amount, and then you join it together at the beginning. It also has a really cool, you can't really see it, but like garter part where you do your short rows, which I always appreciate that. Like patterns that don't have the short rows in the back, they don't fit well. You need short rows somewhere, either at the top or like after the ferrule yoke. Like you need it in the pattern for like a proper good fit. One other thing about this one that I always like to mention, some people, like everybody has like a particular choice, and there are some people who are like real fussy and they want their garments to look like machine made. This one, if you look carefully at the back, center back, this is where you're changing the yarns. You can see a jog, and you could like knock yourself out to figure out how to get rid of it, but like it's a hand knitted garment. So like, why not show off like how it's made? I don't know, it's weird to me. But anyway, I'm just showing you where the jog is. Hard to even see it, really. Anyway, so here's the thing about this one that I think is super cool. I got a DK weight advent kit. I guess it was in 2021. I think it was, 2021. Is that right? Or 2020. Anyway, from Hugh Loco, and was trying to figure out how could I use this DK weight kit, 24 mini skeins, and I happened upon this pattern and I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. So basically, I've used all of the 24, and then I think I started to repeat at the bottom like 1 or 2. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me, sorry. The Neurotic Knitter, we just embrace life, sneezes and all. Okay. So yeah, so I've worked my way through all of the colors, and I'm actually quite close to the point in the sweater where I am going to do the hem. He suggests a folded hem. I was back and forth on that kind of originally, but I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'll do it the way he suggests. And then I've just gotta do 2 sleeves. So this one, high likelihood of finishing. I think maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna say I'd like to try to get this done by maybe early 2024. Because I've got a couple things happening in the winter, but really good one. I really enjoy this one a lot. Painting Bricks. The yarn is the Hugh Loco DK weight yarn. I can't remember the exact name of it. And then Brooklyn Tweed Arbor was the black yarn in that one. Okay, next one. Here we go. I did a little better on my time that time. 5 minutes per sweater. I think that's a good goal. Okay, so this is another one that is pretty gosh darn close. And I'm excited for, okay, some of these might be a little wrinkly because they've been in the bag for a while. This sweater is called Glenmore. It's got a cool like knit purl. It's not seed stitch, maybe it's moss stitch. I can't remember which one. Something like that, right? Texture to it. It's also, you can tell, like, it's got like a drop sleeve situation going on. This one was really fun to make. So this is a pattern, like I said, Glenmore. It is designed by Ysolda Teague. Pattern is super accessible. It calls for a yarn that is called Cyrano. It is by De Rerum Natura. It is not widely available in local yarn stores. However, it's easy to obtain online, either from the De Rerum Natura website. Excuse me. A few other places across the country carry it, like Fiberspace carries it. La Mercerie carries it. I knit this on, I think, like an 11. I'm a little bit of a tight knitter. I think she called for a 10 or a 10 and a half. I, of course, always go up. And this is like, it's a little heavier, but it's like basically your knitted equivalent of like a comfy sweatshirt. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. I think I may have made it like a little too long. That's okay. And the construction's really easy. You start knitting it flat, then you join it, you knit the body. I obviously went back and you install the collar after the fact. I felt like that went actually really well. It was really easy to do, and I was happy with how that came out. And then just like a basic ribbed bottom, and then you're gonna go back and pick up here for the sleeves. And that's all sleeves. That's all I've got left on this one. So my friend Cassie made one that was super beautiful, and she finished hers in like a month. I was doing pretty well for a while, but then of course, like, I got distracted and then cast something else on, and a tale as old as time with me. But I also feel very hopeful about this one. The colorway for this, by the way, is called Forette. It's like a beautiful, as you can tell, it's like a beautiful forest green. This is another really great one, especially if you have like Aran weight yarn that you're not really sure what to do, and you're like a chilly person, you want to have like a nice big comfy warm hug. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed making this one, and I feel good about its chances to see the light of day and to be in my sweater repertoire. Okay. Coffee. I feel like we need to take a commercial break, but one thing I want to say is I hope you're having a great weekend. I feel like I'm just going to take a point of privilege and say my week last week, insane. I've been working like a maniac lately. I was like up 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I'm a morning person, so that's okay. It's just kind of like my equivalent of like working late nights, which a lot of people do when they've got a lot going on. So I usually get up in the morning instead. But man, I'm doing it all. I'm like working hard. I've been like cooking a bunch of food. I've been hitting my, workouts. I've been going to knitting circle. I've been like, I'm doing it all. I did ice dyeing this week. I don't know. I've got a lot of energy these days, and I'm just in a lot going on, but I'm making it. So hopefully I don't just like fall over at some point. Okay. So now we're going to get into the part of the program where it's like, these are ones where we'll see what happens. I'm not really sure what's going to come of these. to varying degrees. Some of them may even be frogged. I don't know. They all have like, the remaining ones all have like some sort of like little issue that I just will share with you. And I would love, like, just engage with me in the comments. Like, I really would love to know your perspectives, your thoughts. Some of these things have a problem, and if you have a solution, I would love to know, because maybe you might be able to help me like get it over the finish line, and we could have like a partnership of some sort. So, okay. My next one is the Dustland sweater by Stephen West. Let me make sure that this is, and I've got this on like some holders, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to like fully spread it out. Which way does this go? It goes this way. Okay. Dustland sweater. Again, sorry, so wrinkly. I have to say that I have kind of a love-hate relationship with this one, and I may like keep going with this at some point. But let me just say, tough love time, okay? And this is not specific to Stephen West. So this is a Stephen West pattern. Here's the thing. I feel concerned, and I've seen other people's sweaters, Dustland sweaters, have two problems. And I'm putting this out there for like public information. Number one, when you knit a knit purl pattern like this throughout the whole thing, see how it's knits and purls the whole thing? When you go to block that, the fabric relaxes greatly. It will stretch, it will loosen up, it will drape. And for like hats and shawls, that's great. For a sweater, a little worrisome. So I have not yet done that, but I already feel like this is gonna be like way too big for me, which I'm a little bummed about. So I kind of just like hit pause on it. The other thing is, it seems to have some like overall fit issues. Maybe that's just my body, but I don't know. I'm a little concerned. However, I do really like it. I mean, I think that just the texture of it is really, really pretty. This yarn, Tones by Brooklyn Tweed. I talked about that on my last podcast. Just as an aside, this yarn, it's like they use like a bright white base and then like a darker base, and then they dye the same color on two different bases, a light base and a dark base. And so you get like two tones, hence the name. It's so lovely to work with. It's a pretty light worsted though, I will say. Like they bill it as a worsted, but I find it to be like more in the light worsted DK kind of camp. Anyway, I would put this in like a medium category of possibility of finishing. I do really like it, and I like want it to work. And there was a point at which I kind of almost frogged it. But I don't want to, because I actually like really like the idea of it. So maybe I'll like keep going with it and see what happens. It's tough, you know, and here's the other thing I'll just say about sweaters. People will say like, because I'm worried about it becoming too drapey, and people will say, well, just steam block it. Guys, I sweat. Like, I need to be able to like wash things. I mean, I'm not like a stinky person. I don't want to like share too much, like, you know, I don't want to gross you guys out, but like, it needs to be able to be washed. So like steam blocking it or not blocking it in perpetuity as a solution, no. And designers don't propose that. Like, the garments you design, they need to be able to be submersed burritoed, as I call it, cradle it, and then put it in the burrito between the two towels and laid flat to dry. Like, if that cannot be accomplished with what you're designing, don't put it out there for people to knit. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway. Oh, and the color for this is the vacay undertone. They have the overtone, which is the bright color, and then the undertone, which is like the moodier, darker. And God, I love a teal. So, feels really good. I might have to resurrect this one. I'm feeling positive on that one. I'm gonna be hopeful about that one. Okay. Next one. We're getting like into the archives, you guys. This one in particular, this is like the throwback. I'm just gonna say that this was casted on in a year that was 201 something. So that tells you something right there. So this is a sweater called the Kangaroo pullover. It's like a Stephen West one. Okay, it's hard to kind of conceptualize. Let me see if I can kind of position it so you can see what's gonna like happen here. But essentially, it's like a what would you call it? Like almost like a hoodie, but without a hood. So like the center, there's like a pocket. I don't know if you can tell, but like, you know, this is where you would put your hands, like in this little pocket thing. It's 2 strands of DK weight yarn held together. It weighs a ton. It weighs a ton. This one, it's really like, I hit a point where basically I could not figure out the next part of the pattern. And it was one of these things where, let me show you. I used all kinds of wild colors, you know. I did stripes. You can see as I hold it, like how much it's stretching because it weighs like a zillion pounds. I used all kinds of colors from my stash and got to a point where I could not figure the next part out in the pattern. Asked for some help from like the help folks over at Stephen Penelope. It wasn't really helpful. It didn't get me past where I needed to go. So if anybody's made one of these and like might be able to help me, I would love that, because maybe I'll wear this. I don't know. It's gonna be heavy. But I will tell you, the yarns I used in here are pretty cool. Like I've got some hedgehog fibers, I've got some House of Ella Mode, I've got, you know, some Madelintosh in there, I've got some Lemonade Shop in there. I don't know. Maybe this is another one that I'll resurrect. It will be warm, so that part, I'm not sure how that's gonna jive. Like literally, guys, this probably weighs like 5 pounds or more. It's a big one, big mama. But yeah, this was more of an unclear pattern situation. Like I just couldn't figure out like where to go next. So I put it on a low simmer. And by low simmer, I mean like it's been languishing in a bag for like 5 years. So I'm gonna put that one in like a low to medium. It's not the highest priority for me, honestly, out of a lot of these. So for that reason, it may kind of just be on a chill mode for a while. Okay, next one. I think we're gonna come in around an hour. So I'm feeling good about that. I hope you're feeling good about that. And I hope I'm inspiring you. Like sweaters can be so intimidating. Don't be scared about a sweater. Like, you can do it. If you're new, or even if you're old and you've never done one, you can do it. They're not scary. Follow the directions, get help from your local yarn store, find people online who can help you. Trust yourself. You can do it. You can do it. And there's lots of different sweaters out there that are accessible. So Don't worry about it. And it's so satisfying when you wear your own garment that like fits your body the way that you want it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, next up. Another one, again, like I don't really know why I stopped making this, if I'm being really honest. I think maybe because I feel like it's gonna be a little bit too short for my body, but I think that maybe there's a way around it. And maybe I would do this differently going forward. So this is a sweater called Penguono by Stephen West. There's a tutorial that you can take from him on this sweater on his website, which I should probably look into because if I decide to like get this going again. I'm a tall guy, so I feel like this was not, it's too short for me. I mean, it's very, like you can see, like this is really small. So if I do continue this, I'm gonna have to like add, like I'm gonna have to like add a bunch of length to the body of it, to the bottom of it. It's a modular sweater, so like this is where I'm at in the modularness of all of it. You can see you have like different sections that you add and I don't know. It's really fun. The sizing just didn't work out. I actually particularly liked my kind of concept for these welts. So I did like a rainbow theme. See, you make these little welts. So I did like red, orange, and yellow, and then I did like green, blue, and purple, like all like pride inspired. It's just really the sizing on this. And so I think it's low. I think this is gonna be like a frog pond sweater, honestly. I just don't know that I love it enough. I don't know if I feel confident in the sizing. I don't know if I wanna make it again, really. I don't know. This would be one maybe that I might frog and then say like someday in the future I'll come back to it and like see if it like sparks my interest again, and then maybe I'll give it another try. So maybe I'll keep it on the needles and just like remember that it's there. But you know, that's another thing is the sizing. A lot of times I find that, here's another like hot take. Pattern designers do not sometimes give you good instructions on how to basically like modify a pattern for height. There's a lot of focus in sweater knitting on the gauge, like the horizontal gauge, right? The stitch gauge. Everything's about that. I mean, sometimes the designers will note like, oh, your row gauge really matters, but that's in like 10% of cases. A lot of cases, like they just give you like a standard measurement for height. They say knit for 10 inches and then go on to the next thing and then knit for 9 inches. It's like, but what if you're 6'5"? And what if you're 5'2"? Like, we're just supposed to know, right? We're just supposed to know how to do it. We're just supposed to know how to alter everything else that making those changes then has a subsequent impact on. It's a gap in sweater design. Like, I really believe it. This is one of the things that I get on about sometimes with my like knitting friends. It's like, you know, I'm a man. I'm almost 6 feet tall. Like, I need help with that element of it. Anyway, that was Penguono. I'm terrible at pronouncing words if you haven't noticed, especially if they're like a little strange. Okay. This is an ice dyed bag that my friend Cassie made me. Look how cool is that? Rainbows. I like rainbows. Okay. This one is one that is going to be on the higher end of the spectrum in terms of likelihood to finish. So this one is, let me just make sure I don't like pull it off the needles. Which way does this go? I always forget. This might be the front. I can't tell. Anyway, this is Once in Floral by Max the Knitter, Maxim Sear. Once in Floral. The yarn that I used for this is Plucky Feet. I don't really like, yeah, you could use a fingering weight yarn for this. I'm not using Plucky. I'm not actively buying any more Plucky these days, but I have a lot of it in my stash from when I was. It has these beautiful roses. I mean, I will say, I think my color work, like this has not been blocked or anything yet. I think my color work was pretty freaking awesome here. Look at that. I think I picked really good colors. I like it. I like the overall aesthetic. So here's another just little Drew thing. Just it's a quirk to me and perhaps to you. Fingering weight sweaters, because this is made from fingering weight yarn. Like I'm knitting this on a size 4 needle. Brutal. They take forever. Like forever. And again, 6 feet tall. It's a lot of knitting. And I'm on black yarn and I've just got to like knit and 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 then knit some more. And then when I'm done with that, I got to knit 2 sleeves in black. So it's just, this one's like a motivation thing. I had Dory, Flory Dory. Many of you may know her, help me with the collar. She did a beautiful job. So I've got my double knit collar and, you know, I think I gotta finish this one. I just gotta like dig deep and get over the fingering weight thing. And even if this ends up being like the only fingering weight sweater I ever make, like this is a good showing, right? Because it looks good on me, I think. See, you can just kind of pretend like it's done if I do this. So anyway, 2024, I think I'm gonna like give this one another go. I mean, it, you know, in a well-lit room, social knitting kind of situation, which I think I brought this with me when I went to Portland with my friends last year. You know, it can work. It can work for social knitting, and that's a good way to kind of knock out like 16 inches of stockinette on a freaking size 4. Anyway, excited about that one. That one is, I'm gonna say medium to high. I think that one I'm gonna finish. It may not be for a while, but like it's gonna get done. I want to put it on my list for 2024. I think it's gonna be like a good goal for 2024. Okay. 2 more to go. 48 minutes. I'm gonna make it in under an hour, I think. But you know, if I don't, that's okay. You guys will give me a little grace. If you're still with me, you could, I probably lost half of you or more like 25 minutes ago. Okay, this one I actually really like, but there's a few issues that I wanted to talk about in this one. So this one's like also a little bit like conceptual. But I really like it. Oh, I think it's inside out. Hold on, let me just, yeah, it's inside out. Let me turn it the right way so you can see. Okay, let's see here. Is this right? Yeah. Sidebar, like this one also, well, I'll talk about that in a second. So, thanks for your patience, guys. It's like some of these things have been in the bag for quite a while, and so they're a little bit twisted and they're a little wrinkly and they've got a few things going on. Okay. This sweater is called Mansour Plastique. It's by Stephen West. It has a garter yoke. It has this really cool collar that you make. I love. And what will happen is you have this bright purple collar and you've got purple here, and then you knit a full purple sleeve on one side. The body of this is one color, and then the sleeve will match that color over here. And then this is knit reverse stockinette. So reverse stockinette, and then you've got your garter yoke, cool collar, and then you're gonna have like a garter yoke, and then like you'll knit a sleeve here. So a couple of things about this one. I used Hedgehog Merino Aran, knit at a denser gauge. I actually was really happy with that. Like what needle, let's see what needle I'm on here. Yeah, I'm on a 7. So I'm knitting like an Aran weight yarn on a 7. It's getting me like a denser fabric. So I like that part. I didn't want it to be quite so drapey. And again, like I think that the pattern like model for this one showed a real kind of like a sweater that looked like it was hanging on the body, and that's just not the way I like to normally roll. The other thing that this sweater had that I tried and I just wasn't like 100% happy with, and I'm being like super duper 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 fussy, is I did helical knitting on this. You have to look that up, but essentially it's like a way to alternate yarns in the round, and it's good in a lot of ways. But one thing that I just was really like unhappy with, nobody seems to know how to end helical knitting. So I stopped doing the helical knitting because I like wanted to get into like the ribbing on the body and stuff. And I got this like weird like blippy spot. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right here. I don't know if it's really that perceptible. See, you can kind of see it. It's like right there. And so it gave me kind of a yuck. Like I was like, oh. So this is one where I would just love to know, like, is there a good way and a clean way to finish up helical knitting? Because in helical knitting, like one of the things that you're doing is you're slipping 3 stitches, and then you do this thing, you pick up the next one, and then you go around, and then you stop 3 stitches before, and then you pick it up. But what ends up happening is like you always are going to have these 3 slipped stitches to deal with. And I don't know how to deal with them. I don't know how to resolve them in a way that's going to like make it just look completely seamless. So I stopped making it for that reason, which maybe that seems kind of crazy and silly, but I just wasn't happy with like how it looked. And honestly, like, I don't know. It's on the back of the sweater, so maybe it's not the end of the world. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to give this medium likelihood. Not high and not low, just in the middle. This is one too where it's probably down the list a little bit. Like I said, Hedgehog Merino Aran is the yarn. Salty Tails is the gray. I love Salty Tails. It's like one of my favorite hedgehog colors. And then I think this is called Spell, if they're still making that color, this like really vibrant purple. I don't know. I might have to like bring this into my local yarn store and be like, help. So I've got that one going. And now we're down to the very last one at minute 54:17. Okay. And this one's also really cool. And this actually, I have one problem with this, and it's one, I should have put this at the beginning, honestly, because this is one where literally if I can find a legitimate fix to the problem, I want to finish the sweater. Okay. And it's I think it like is a really cool looking sweater, and one that I've like generally enjoyed making. Okay, let me see. Yeah. Is that how it goes? Yeah, I think that's how it goes. Okay. This is called Brioche, also by Stephen West. I like Stephen West. I like his patterns and I like his kind of innovative design. And this one's really fun. You basically like, you're knitting brioche the whole time. It is a really heavy sweater, I will say that. I picked some really fun colors. This is all Hedgehog Merino Aran. So I did like a chunk of color here, and then I did like this like fun like blue and purple, and then I did this pink one, and then I went into like this color. It's like a mint color, and then a color called typewriter. See how you can see the green kind of coming out? And I'm enjoying it. Like I have not knit on this for a very long time. And this is also one where I will for sure block it. Like probably if it gets up and running again, I'm gonna block it just because you know how brioche is. It grows and grows, and this is like definitely got some stretch to it. I'm knitting it on a size 8, so my needle, my firmness of my fabric's good and everything. Here's the issue with this one, and I'm gonna come up close. So the beginning of this pattern has you cast on an I-cord, right? Which I did in this cool orange. And then you pick up stitches into the I-cord. Well, my I-cord is like pretty tight. And so getting this on my head, it's gonna be too tight, I think. It is. I know it is. And like I haven't even like, you know how when you do an I-cord, you've got to like join it in the round. I haven't even joined it in the round yet, right? I'm gonna have to connect these edges. So this is my question. Is there a way to basically pick this I-cord out, grab the brioche stitches, and then maybe just like make like a normal neckline that's not an I-cord? Is that possible? And if somebody knows how to do that, I would love to know, because maybe I can just like pick those stitches up and then just knit like a little like orange, just, I don't know, like just in brioche or in ribbing or something and figure something out. Or maybe I can, I don't know, like do an I-cord but on a much larger needle so it's not so like tight. It just was like not comfortable to wear when I tried it on, and I was so sad about that. But other than that, like I've had no errors in the project, which is kind of a miracle with brioche. I think my colors are fun and cool. So yeah, I'm hoping that somebody will help me with this. Like I really would like to maybe see this one through as well and see if there's a way to like bring it back from the dead. So medium. I'm giving a lot of mediums, but I'm giving some medium highs and some highs too. Okay. So that's my tour. What do y'all think? Am I crazy? No, I'm not crazy. I hope you enjoyed the sweater tour. And just a couple of housekeeping items as we finish out today. The first is I'm going to Rhinebeck next month, as I mentioned a couple of times, and I hope to see you guys there. Don't be shy. Come say hello. I hope to be sporting at least 2 new Rhinebeck sweaters, Spalding, Normandale, a lot of blue this year. I don't think a third's possible, but maybe if I'm fast, I don't know. This month's a little crazy, so probably not. So I don't even want to really set myself up for failure there, but maybe there's a bonus of some sort will come. And yeah, I'd love to know what you think in the comments about individual sweaters, any of the kind of issues I had, whether you've had some similar issues, any solutions you may have. encouragement, places I could go for some help. And yeah, thank you all for being here with me. I love you all so much. And I'm wishing you just like the best vibes, good juju, um, a beautiful rest of your Sunday, depending on when you watch this. Many of you will probably watch this into the week, so have a really good work week. Remember, you only get one life, and so make the most of it. Have fun, stick with the winners, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Mwah. Love you all. Bye.